Hey y'all, we here. We up in the news today. Um, I just want to bring y'all some just in information, and then also we're gonna be talking about the retaliation about the soldiers that was killed in Israel. We're also going to be talking about what Putin has just recently done. That's got the whole Europe actually on the edge of the seat for real. Um, well, I'll just go ahead and start off with this first. We actually got confirmation that we got 70 strikes on ISIS targets, and well, I'll let them go ahead and kick it off real quick. But man, this is huge. We have conflicts going on each continent of the earth right now. So uh, stay tuned. Here, I'll let you watch the video real quick.
CENTCOM that sent this video out of the U.S. as it prepared to conduct military strikes against the Islamic State in Syria today. This comes following a promise by President Trump to avenge the deaths of two Iowa National Guard soldiers that were killed in a terrorist attack in the country last week. Trump vowed revenge on the terror group after the soldiers, who were with the Iowa National Guard, by the way, they were killed while supporting ongoing counterterrorism operations in the region. Secretary Hegseth saying that American military forces struck dozens of suspected ISIS sites at several locations, all of this taking place in central Syria. This, again, posted by U.S. CENTCOM just hours ago. Standing by is retired Marine Intelligence Officer and host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with me. Hal, we knew that Trump wanted to retaliate. Is this the type of response that we were expecting?
You know, Austin, it really kind of is. In fact, he said it was going to be something big, alluding to a very large operation. This operation.
Hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be bigger than that, honestly. Just the way he was approaching the situation. And not just that, all the arms that we have over in the Middle East. It's crazy.
Which is called Operation Hawkeye. Of course, Hawkeye referring to the Iowa National Guard soldiers that were killed last weekend, is pretty big. It had F-16s, U.S. F-16s, Jordanian F-16s, U.S. A-10 Warthogs. That's a plane that's really designed for ground attack and supporting close-in fire support on the ground. With that said, they also have Apache helicopters. It had and also using HIMARS rockets, multiple rocket launching system. All of this hitting about 70 different targets, and it had the support of the Syrian government as well. So, with all of that said, it was a big response, and I'm having to assume it probably made a big difference. I'm waiting to hear the battle damage assessment as to
now. So the battle assessment is like a regiment of how much destruction it was. If y'all didn't know that already, and how many fatalities it was involved. But anyways,
to what it really did to ISIS in Syria.
The president saying this on Truth Social earlier today. I'll read it in full. It's a bit lengthy. He says, because of ISIS's vicious killing of brave American patriots in Syria, whose beautiful souls I welcomed home to American soil earlier this week in a very dignified ceremony, I am hereby announcing that the United States is inflicting very serious retaliation, just as I promised, on the murderous terrorists responsible. We are striking very strongly against ISIS strongholds in Syria. It's a place soaked in blood, which has many problems, but one that has a bright future if ISIS can be eradicated. The government of Syria, led by a man who is working very hard to bring greatness back to Syria, and is fully in support. All terrorists who are evil enough to attack Americans are hereby warned, you will be hit harder than you have ever been hit before if you in any way attack or threaten the U.S. President Trump saying that earlier.
I agree with him on that, yo. If you're gonna kill soldiers over there just trying to help the country out, well, we don't need to. We don't really need to do that, dog. We can literally sit back, kick back in our own, in our own country and protect ourselves. But we don't do that. If it wasn't for the United States, man, democracy would be dead. And the way things are going right now, like, the United States holds all that up. Like, what you don't understand, like, from communist parties, from Russia wanting to take over the whole world. Like, if you didn't have the United States there to deter that, like, could you imagine, like, where we would be today? It would be, I don't know if it'd be chaos, it'd be crazy. I mean, I don't know. I think it's already chaos and crazy, if you ask me. I mean, all them people are dying for what? Because somebody wants to join a a group or a federation. I mean, it don't make no sense. Or alliance, should I say? I don't know. It hardly makes any sense to me to kill millions of people because somebody wants to join somebody else's shit. I don't know. That's just me, though.
Today. So how do these strikes fit into the broader U.S. approach to countering ISIS, particularly given that ISIS's current capabilities and presence are mainly in Iraq and Syria, correct?
Yeah, they are. And actually, if you get into ISIS itself, where their strongholds are, it's primarily Syria now. I'm not saying they don't have a presence in Iraq, but it's a vastly diminished presence. It's not anything like it was. Syria is where you see large, collectives, if you will, of ISIS capability. And that's what the Syrian government's been going up against. It's what we were going up against. It was what the Kurds that were working with us were going up against. And so we're aiming at ISIS. You got to remember, ISIS isn't just these attacks in Syria. That's the stated reason. ISIS was also behind what happened in Bondi Beach in Sydney. There's been terrorist plots in the U.S. tied to ISIS. And so ISIS is very busy. There's been a lot of discussion about ISIS is in a resurgence mode right now worldwide. And so this was a big strike. It demonstrates American firepower in a very unique way. It hits ISIS where they probably have the biggest concentration, although that's arguable because some would say, well, actually, they're probably bigger in Afghanistan and Central Asia, but that's a kind of a different branch of ISIS, if that makes sense. And this thing was really a lot of firepower generated. It's actually in some ways bigger than what I expected. It's not just a demonstration attack. This was actually a full-on attack. And the thing that I looked at with the array of forces that we used, it was done in such a way to demonstrate a broad swath of firepower capabilities that we have, also done in a way that it can be repeated. So if we go in there and look at that battle damage assessment and we recognize there are certain targets we didn't completely destroy like we wanted to, we could certainly turn around and keep hitting it. It didn't say that it was a one and done operation. This may actually go on for a while. It just depends on what the results are.
So we've been tracking Pentagon correspondent Jennifer Griffin. She's been bringing minute-by-minute updates, and she's learning more about how much was targeted. She says U.S. officials are telling her that the U.S. military struck over 70 targets tonight in Syria. This comes, of course, in retaliation for the killing of 3 Americans last Saturday. 70 targets, Hal. What operational and intelligence challenges do U.S. forces face when conducting targeted strikes in Syria? And how does the U.S.'s new friendly relationship with the Syrian president change things?
So, do you think we're going to go back and retaliate again and hit them again? Or do you think they're just going to let them go. I don't. I don't. I mean, it's going to get a little crazy. I'm telling you right now, it really is. Not with this. I'm about to show you here in just a minute what I'm talking about. I'll let y'all finish this.
Well, the big change, I would say, if I could address that, the last part first, is that with the cooperation of these Syrian forces with the Syrian government, if you will, that used to be kind of a different group before they took power, they have intelligence that they can provide us, intelligence that can be reduced down to target intelligence, which gets us to exact targets we can hit. Of course, always the thing that you're kind of worried about is that different groups within that makeup may actually pursue their own personal vendettas, which is, we've hated those guys in the next village for the last 300 years. They give us that as a target, saying it's ISIS, and it turns out it's actually more of a vendetta. That's one of the many things that we have to work through when we're getting intelligence through those human sources like that, from a indirect source through the Syrian government. So, but with that, they would have some knowledge about things that we may not have, things that were really permeated through human sources in Syrian society that we're just simply not tapped into. So that could be a very valuable source for getting some targets. And you got to remember, wherever ISIS is operating, they're trying to hide, whether it's a headquarters, an ammunition depot, where their weapons are, where their troops are, any concentration of ISIS. They're diligently trying to hide that from our overhead systems and all of our technical intelligence collection systems. So it's in that area that I think this cooperation with the Syrian government could make a big difference, if not giving us a target outright, maybe giving us some intelligence that confirms what we suspect as being an ISIS target is actually what we think it is, and therefore we can make the decision to hit it with something.
So looks like Lucas Tomlinson just sent this out, Hal. Looks like some of the troops here wrote, "May your legacy be remembered." Looks like they addressed one of these weapons, or they were addressing those killed and writing this on one of those weapons being used. I wanted to ask you about ISIS. What do we know, Hal, about how powerful ISIS is today? Do they have the backing of any major nations?
They don't really have the backing of any major nations, except they have a really strong foothold in Afghanistan. And we were against the Taliban during the war, during our time in Afghanistan. We're also against ISIS in Afghanistan. Ironically, when we pulled out, the Taliban and ISIS are fighting each other fiercely, but they're very much ensconced there. But if you look at ISIS, they're actually over a pretty broad swath. They're very active in North Africa and the Sahel region. We see various ISIS enclaves and ISIS forces.
All right, but anyway, so I'm glad that we did that. I'm glad we retaliated. But I mean, I'm glad we got that back. Is all I can say. But that get back, let me pull this over here. All right, so this is where Putin's talking about his new ballistic missile. I'm hoping I got it in English.
Esteemed Andrei Rymovich, esteemed comrades, today, within the framework of the expanded board of the Ministry of Defense, we will discuss the results of work over the past period. We will determine priority tasks for the development of the armed forces and strengthening the country's defense capability. I note that the outgoing year has become an important stage in resolving the tasks of the special military operation. The Russian army has gained and securely holds the strategic initiative on the entire front line. Our troops confidently advance forward and grind the enemy, its groups, and reserves, including...
And what he's talking about, pressing forward and grinding the enemy, yeah, that's dead. That's dead.
Including major cities transformed by the enemy into fortified nodes filled with long-term fortification structures. Stand, but proved powerless before the courage and military skill of our fighters. The positions taken, bridgeheads created over the past months, and, of course, the unique tactical and operational experience gained in battles, breaking through deep enemy defense, allow us to increase the pace of advancement in strategically important directions. We are proud of the feats of our soldiers and officers fighting for Russia and the safety of our citizens. I also want to note our North Korean combat comrades. By decision of Comrade Chairman of State Affairs of the DPRK, Kim Jong-un, they were sent to participate in the liberation of the Kursk region. Shoulder to shoulder with Russian fighters, they bravely and courageously fought the enemy and took part in the large-scale and extremely complex work of demoning the liberated Kursk land. Our duty is always to remember all our fallen comrades and support their families, children, and parents. The state will do everything necessary for this. I ask you to honor the memory of those who died for the motherland with a minute of silence. Esteemed participants of the board, we know that behind the Kiev regime are the capabilities of the largest military political bloc in the world, NATO. Large-scale military aid is continuously being provided. Advisors, instructors, and mercenaries are sent, and intelligence data is transmitted. In such complex conditions, our troops show high combat capability and training. The capabilities of the Russian army are constantly being developed. Work to strengthen the armed forces has been continuous in recent years, improving combat composition, enhancing the military management system, operational and combat training, and increasing the efficiency of the defense industry, which quickly restructured many production and technological processes. It now produces in-demand products in ever-growing volumes. Thanks to the precise work of the defense industry complex, the Army and Navy are timely equipped with modern weapons and technology. The ground forces receive missile complexes and artillery systems with high-precision targeting means, loitering munitions, various types of drones, and robotics. Aerospace.
Now this was just aired yesterday, so I'm just bringing this to y'all today because it just got emailed to me today. It's getting a little crazy. He's actually deploying these missiles in Belarus. But let me go ahead.
These forces receive modified missiles and aviation bombs with a planning and correction module, capable of working effectively in complex jamming environments. Many here know how much effectiveness has increased recently, often over 80%. I want to thank those involved. This is real help, real. This year, new submarines have joined the Navy, including the strategic missile carrier Prince Buzharsky, as well as 19 surface ships and vessels. Successful tests of the strategic cruise missile of unlimited range Burevestnik and the unmanned underwater apparatus Poseidon have been carried out. Due to the use of a nuclear power plant, these complexes will remain unique and one of a kind for a long time. They ensure strategic parity and global security positions for Russia for decades to come. We will continue to work on these complexes, refining, improving, and enhancing them, but they already exist. By the end of the year, the medium-range missile complex with the hypersonic missile Oreshnik will be on combat duty. Last November, its combat application was carried out for the first time. The high level of training of units and formations, their ability to solve the most complex tasks, is confirmed in regularly conducted exercises, including those with our foreign allies and partners, to whom we pass on the experience gained during the special military operation. Thus, I note the good results shown at the Joint Strategic Exercise West 2025. All tasks to protect and secure the Union State from potential external aggression were successfully worked out.
Alright, y'all, so that was Putin talking about the new Russian missile. They actually deployed the Russian missile in Belarus. They got it deployed now. Europe's going crazy about this. Here, I'll let you see it for yourself. Oh, my bad, y'all. Alright, so, this is the warning that Putin gave to NATO and EU.
The Kremlin fires a new intermediate-range ballistic missile at Ukraine on Thursday in response to Kyiv's use this week of American and British missiles capable of striking deeper into Russia.
В ответ на применение американского и британского дальнобойного оружия
President Vladimir Putin, in a televised address, warning that U.S. air defense systems would be powerless to stop the new missile, which he said flies at 10 times the speed of sound. Putin also threatening the missile could be used to attack any Ukrainian ally whose missiles are used to attack Russia.
Putin's retaliation with this.
So the reason why he said that is because the United States is, well, everybody knows that. I mean, we're selling them weapons. I mean, well, we're not selling them weapons now, per se. We're actually selling NATO and EU the weapons, and then they're selling them the weapons, per se, or whatever. But anyways.
This longer range missile is meant to display.
Oh yeah, and Ukraine has a new missile now. It's called the Flamingo missile. It's actually their own missile, but they actually been using that to actually hit the oil fields and stuff. If y'all ain't heard about that or anything, I'm actually want to be doing a big broadcast about that here in the next couple of days, about all the oil fields and everything else, and Russia's economy. But anyway, Ukraine's been like smacking their oil fields so hard that like I think they have lines and lines and lines and lines of cars. And it's still happening today. I know that you're not seeing much videos about it now because, I mean, Russia is trying to control the media, you know. But anyway.
To Republicans in the U.S. that your outgoing President Biden has been risking World War III with a horribly failed policy. And it's also a message that's being sent to Europeans saying you really don't want to be on Ukraine's side here. You want to find a way to reduce the tensions and start working with us, Russia.
The Pentagon confirming a new experimental type of intermediate-range missile was used in the attack on the central Ukrainian city of Dnipro.
This was a new type of lethal capability that was employed on the battlefield. So that's certainly of concern to us.
Singh said the U.S. was notified of the Russian missile strike in advance through nuclear risk reduction channels. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said use of the missile was an obvious and serious escalation.
It is leading people to ask what Russia's next move is, but I think what the Russians are trying to do is to try and intimidate the Ukrainians and their Western backers from pushing back any further and to gain as much as they can for the next 60 days.
Okay, so has anybody heard that Putin had cancer, right? I mean, I don't know if y'all heard about that or not, but it's been saying that he has a terminal illness disease, but then when he actually went to the parade in China, for the military parade in China, I don't know if y'all know anything about that or not, but anyway, President Ping was actually talking about having artificial organs and stuff like that. Like, it was crazy, dude. Y'all have to look it up. If y'all don't believe me, look it up. They actually got a open mic moment on them, and they didn't know the mics was on. So if y'all want to see that, check it out.
Is until the inauguration of Donald Trump.
Russian President Vladimir Putin held his annual press conference on Friday, a highly orchestrated occasion, which was again combined with a nationwide call-in show.
That is all fabricated by him and his little sideline comrades.
The event attracts hundreds of journalists from across Russia and further afield. Participants wave placards in the hope of grabbing the attention of the Russian president, and members of the public are able to submit questions. This year, a large part of the event...
And when they mean by the public, meaning that it's already written up.
The event was dedicated to questions on the fighting in Ukraine. Putin once again repeated that his troops were making progress on the battlefield and said the Kremlin would achieve its stated goals in Ukraine. These latest comments come amid a flurry of diplomacy to end the nearly 4-year conflict, and as more peace talks are expected this weekend in Miami. A young Russian journalist proposed to his girlfriend live on air just before asking Putin a question. We later heard she said yes. There was a question about UFOs, and one journalist even thanked Putin for outlawing Satanism.
The man suspected in the mass shooting at Brown University and the murder of a Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor has been found dead.
He was a Brown student.
Alright, but anyways, yeah, it's crazy knowing that he's deploying these missiles. I mean, if y'all don't know the destruction and the power of one of these missiles, if they put a nuclear warhead on top of it, what the destruction would be. I mean, have you ever seen Independence Day? When the aliens came and they shot New York with that big ass beam. Well, that's about how it would be. About like that. But yeah, if y'all ain't never seen Independence Day, go watch that movie. And that's about how, when the missile goes off, that's about how it would be where the impact zone's at. But and then not just that, they got that new other missile too, where like it creates a big ass tidal wave. It's a nuclear bomb, but they actually blow it up off the coast, so it actually creates a wave that actually covers the whole coast in nuclear radiated water. It sounds insane. I mean, because it would pollute the whole ocean. But anyway, yeah, it's wild of knowing like where things are going. I'm hoping things can get de-escalated, but I mean, hopefully this peace deal goes in, this ceasefire deal goes through with Ukraine and Russia, just so we can level some things out, man, and get some things straightened up. But I don't know. Y'all let me know. Drop me some chats in. Let me know. If y'all drop in, tune in, and y'all watch this. Drop me some chats in. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think. If I'm doing a decent job, if y'all like the shows, let me know. I'm gonna do a monthly funniest video and monthly best videos every month.